Find frank explanations for why Sigma men and contemporary women frequently disagree today. And it's not what you would anticipate, I assure you. Hold on tight, Sigmas, because this is going to be enlightening. Now let's get started. Point 1. Sigmas are unpredictable, and that terrifies women. Modern women are accustomed to a certain dynamic in relationships, one where men pursue relentlessly, seek validation, and follow an unspoken script of predict. They expect men to chase, to beg for attention, and to constantly seek their approval. But Sigma males, they disrupt this entire system. Sigmas don't operate on desperation. They don't flood DMs, they don't overtext, and they certainly don't make their lives revolve around someone else. This unpredictability triggers what psychologists call ambiguity aversion, a cognitive bias where people feel uneasy about situations they can't fully understand or control. Most women are wired to seek emotional security, which often translates to wanting control in relationships. When a Sigma male refuses to play the game, it unsettles them. They begin to question why he isn't seeking their validation like others do. And ironically, that very mystery, his refusal to conform, makes him even more attractive. Because what's rare is always in demand. Point 2. Sigmas don't seek validation, and that's a problem. Most men are wired to seek validation from women. They thrive on compliments, attention, and approval, constantly adjusting their behavior to impress and attract. It's a cycle driven by social conditioning, where a man's worth is often measured by how well he can gain female attention. But Sigma males, they exist outside this system entirely. A Sigma male walks into a room with quiet confidence, making no effort to impress, yet commanding attention effortlessly. This isn't arrogance, it's self-sufficiency. Unlike most men who subconsciously crave validation, a Sigma's sense of worth comes from within. This level of detachment is rare, and it disrupts the typical dynamic between men and women. Psychologically, people are drawn to what they can't control. Women are used to men seeking their approval, but when faced with a man who remains unaffected by their influence, curiosity turns into obsession. They analyze, chase, and try to decode the mystery. And that's where the power lies, because you can't manipulate a man who doesn't need you. Point 3. Sigmas aren't impressed by superficiality. Today's dating world operates like a social media marketplace full of filters, status displays, and carefully crafted illusions. Many modern women expect admiration simply for their appearance, assuming that men will chase, validate, and compete for their attention. This dynamic fuels an endless cycle of superficial interactions where image matters more than authenticity. But a Sigma, he refuses to play the game. He's not impressed by curated selfies, extravagant demands, or performative charm. He values depth, substance, and a mind that challenges his own. He seeks a partner, not a fan club. And because he doesn't respond to manipulation or shallow attraction, he disrupts the usual power dynamics of modern dating. Women who rely on attention-seeking tactics quickly become frustrated when they realize their usual strategies don't work. They label him as cold or emotionally unavailable. But the truth is simpler. He just isn't interested in the illusion. He sees beyond the surface, and in today's world of dating mirages, that makes him rare and powerful. Point 4. Sigmas are leaders, not followers. Most women have been conditioned by society, media, and tradition to expect a certain type of man, one who conforms, seeks approval, and rarely questions the status quo. From childhood, they are taught that a good man is agreeable, accommodating, and eager to please. This expectation is reinforced by romantic movies, social norms, and even peer influence. But Sigma males, we don't fit that mold. Sigma men operate on a different wavelength. We think critically, question narratives, and move through life with an independent mindset. We're not interested in following trends, chasing validation, or adapting to someone else, and this unsettles many modern women. Why? Because deep down they realize they can't control or manipulate a man who doesn't seek their approval. Women are naturally drawn to strong, independent men, yet they also find them frustrating. A Sigma's self-sufficiency forces them to either rise to his level or move on. Unlike traditional alpha males, who may dominate a relationship, Sigmas remain an enigma, strong, yet detached, present, yet unpredictable. This paradox creates both attraction and discomfort. This isn't about defying women. It's about defying control. Society rewards compliance, but Sigmas thrive on autonomy. This makes relationships with us intense, challenging, and deeply intriguing. A woman who truly understands a Sigma doesn't try to tame him. She learns to walk beside him. And that's what separates the few from the many. Point 5. Sigmas don't play the chase game. Modern dating has become a high-stakes battlefield where men are expected to jump through hoops chasing, complimenting, texting first, and constantly proving their worth. It's a dynamic that places all the power in the hands of those being pursued. But Sigmas, they refuse to play by these outdated rules. A Sigma male understands that genuine attraction should be mutual, not forced. If a woman is interested, great, he welcomes her energy. If she's not, he moves on without hesitation. This mindset isn't arrogance. It's self-respect. He values his time and refuses to engage in pointless games. Studies in social psychology show that people are drawn to what they perceive as scarce or hard to obtain. That's why a Sigma's indifference is so powerful. It disrupts expectations. Most women are conditioned to expect pursuit, believing that a man's interest is measured by how hard he chases. But when faced with a Sigma's silence, they're left questioning their own desirability. It's not manipulation. It's simply a byproduct of self-sufficiency. Unlike traditional nice guys who overextend themselves in hopes of winning approval, Sigmas operate with a quiet confidence. They don't seek validation, and that makes them even more intriguing. In a world where attention is currency, a Sigma's refusal to beg for it makes him stand out. This is why Sigmas thrive in modern dating. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. Their focus is on their own growth, ambitions, and purpose. And paradoxically, that's what makes them so magnetic. Point 6. Sigmas prioritize their mission over relationships. For the modern woman, many men exist to orbit around her desires, seeking validation through constant attention and approval. Social media has amplified this dynamic, with countless men simping over investing in women who give little in return. But a Sigma male operates on a different frequency. Purpose, ambition, and legacy always come first. This isn't about neglecting relationships, it's about priorities. History has shown that the greatest men, from Leonardo da Vinci to Nikola Tesla, were deeply committed to their work, their vision, and their self-mastery. They didn't chase, they built, and that ironically made them more desirable. When a man is self-sufficient, emotionally grounded, and driven by purpose, he becomes both attractive and intimidating. Women may want him, but they can't control him. A man who is already fulfilled doesn't seek permission to live his life. This is what makes Sigmas both dangerously appealing and frustratingly unattainable. Point 7. Sigmas hold high standards. Unlike the average man, Sigmas refuse to settle for mediocrity. They don't bend to societal expectations or tolerate unnecessary drama, entitlement, or mind games. In a world where many expect men to tolerate disrespect while demanding perfection in return, the Sigma male stands up. His refusal to lower his standards isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. And that, to some, is an unforgivable offense. This dynamic is especially evident in relationships. Many women are accustomed to men who compromise their boundaries for validation, but a Sigma, he operates differently. He isn't moved by emotional manipulation. He doesn't chase approval, and he certainly won't tolerate toxic behavior. Instead of self-improvement, some choose to label him as intimidating or too much simply because he won't be controlled. Psychology backs this up. People often reject what they don't understand. Studies show that individuals who exhibit high levels of independence and self-sufficiency can be perceived as unapproachable or even threatening. This isn't because they're hostile, it's because they challenge the norm. Sigmas do exactly that. But here's the reality. A Sigma male doesn't exist to fit into anyone's mold. He builds his own path free from the need for approval. While others waste time playing games, he focuses on growth. While others fear being alone, he thrives in solitude. And while some see his confidence as a threat, the truth is he's simply operating on a level they can't reach. So let them call you intimidating. Let them claim you're too much. It only proves one thing: you're doing something right. because a Sigma doesn't lower his standards to fit in. He rises above, and that in the end is what sets him apart. Point 8. Sigmas expose the truth, and most can't handle it. Most men filter their words, sugarcoat reality, or tiptoe around hard truths to avoid conflict, especially when it comes to women. But a Sigma male, he doesn't play that game. He values truth over comfort, clarity over confusion, and reality over illusion. If something doesn't make sense, he says it. If there's a double standard, he calls it out. If someone plays the victim when they're really in control of their choices, he won't entertain the act. This is why Sigmas often find themselves at odds with society. We live in an era where emotions frequently override logic, where people would rather feel good than hear the truth. But history shows us that great minds like Socrates, who was sentenced to death for questioning societal norms, were often labeled as threats simply for speaking truthfully. Take the modern dating landscape. A Sigma male might point out that while society tells men to be strong providers, it simultaneously criticizes them for embracing traditional masculinity, or that a woman demanding financial stability from a man while rejecting the idea of gender roles. These aren't attacks, they're observations grounded in reality. But here's the problem. In a world that rewards delusion over truth, honesty is seen as aggression rather than wisdom. Sigmas aren't afraid of this backlash. They understand that being real will cost them popularity, but they don't seek validation from the crowd anyway. They would rather be respected for their honesty than liked for their silence. So when a Sigma speaks his mind, it isn't to be harsh. It's because he refuses to live in a lie. And while society may try to silence truth-tellers, history proves that the world eventually catches up to the wisdom they tried to ignore. Point 9. Sigmas are rare, and that sparks envy. Let's be real, most men follow the script society hands. They seek approval, conform to expectations, and compete for female validation. They mold themselves into what others want, often at the expense of their own identity. But a Sigma, he's cut from a different cloth. He doesn't chase validation because he doesn't need it. His confidence isn't dependent on external approval, and his self-sufficiency makes him immune to manipulation. This level of independence is rare. And in life, anything rare triggers one of two reactions: admiration or resentment. People either respect what they don't understand or fear it. And unfortunately, for most modern women, it's the latter. Why? Because a Sigma male disrupts the traditional power dynamics in relationships. Women are used to men who seek their approval, who bend over backward for attention. But a Sigma doesn't play that game. He operates on his own terms. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't entertain mind games, he walks away. And this lack of dependence unsettles many women who thrive on control and validation. Studies in evolutionary psychology suggest that women are naturally drawn to high-status, confident men. But when a man exudes confidence without seeking their approval, it creates a paradox. They are drawn to him yet frustrated by his indifference. This explains why some women admire Sigmas while others resent them. It's an emotional tug-of-war. A Sigma's rare mindset also challenges societal norms. In a world where emotional validation is currency, a man who is unbothered by external opinions is an anomaly. People often attack what they can't control, which is why Sigmas face criticism, doubt, and even hostility. But the truth remains: greatness is never understood in its time. So Sigma, embrace your uniqueness. You don't exist to be liked, you exist to be respected. And that alone is enough to set you apart from the crowd. Sigmas, the truth is 97% of modern women dislike us because they can't control us, they can't predict us, and they can't manipulate us. But that's their problem, not ours. So what should we do? Keep building, keep evolving. And most importantly, keep walking the path of self-mastery undisturbed by the opinions of those who can't comprehend our mindset. If you found value in this, hit that like button and subscribe to join this community of elite, purpose-driven men. Let's redefine masculinity on our own terms. Having said this,
she leaned in closer, brushed her hair back, and whispered, "I don't know why, but something about you just makes me feel safe." And just like that, the younger woman was hooked. Why do younger women find themselves irresistibly drawn to older Sigma males, yet never confess the real reasons? Let me take you into a scene you might have witnessed or lived. An older man, graying at the temples, calm in the storm, walking into a room like he owns nothing but commands everything. He's not flashy, he's not loud, he doesn't chase, he attracts. A younger woman, full of options and energy, finds herself pulled to this man's quiet strength. That, my fellow Sigmas, is no accident. It's a psychological, emotional, and primal magnetism. And here's the kicker. There are certain things these younger women love hearing from Sigma men, but they'd never dare admit it. In today's video, we're diving deep into the secret language between older Sigma males and younger women. You'll discover the words that make their hearts flutter, their walls fall, and their minds race. Words they crave but won't admit. This isn't your average dating advice. This is Sigma wisdom, refined, rare, and ridiculously effective. Let's get into it. Number 1. I enjoy my own company. The power of solitude. Younger women are often used to guys who constantly seek validation, likes on social media, excessive compliments, or constant reassurance. So when a man says, I enjoy my own company, it hits different. It signals confidence, independence, and emotional strength. You're not avoiding people. You're just selective about who gets access to your world. This statement quietly screams self-worth. You're not desperate for attention or affection. Instead, you value solitude because it recharges you. Psychologists have found that people who enjoy solitude tend to have better emotional regulation, higher creativity, and a stronger sense of identity. For younger women, this is rare and incredibly intriguing. Why? Because it suggests you have depth. It tells her you're not out here trying to fill a void. You're already whole. That drives her curiosity through the roof. She starts wondering, what makes this man so content on his own? This is classic Sigma male energy. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about mastering your inner world. The mystery, the maturity, the self-control, it all becomes magnetic. And unlike the average guy who tries too hard to impress, your quiet confidence speaks volumes. That's what makes you unforgettable. Number 2. You don't have to prove anything to me. Non-judgmental confidence. When a Sigma male says, you don't have to prove anything to me, it's not just a line, it's a revelation. It cuts through the noise of societal expectations like a sword of peace. In a world where women are often judged by appearance, accomplishments, or how well they fit into someone else's mold, this statement offers a rare breath of freedom. Sigma males don't seek to control, impress, or play games. Their independence and self-assurance mean they're not looking to validate their worth through someone else's actions. That's powerful. This kind of man isn't there to test her or keep score. He simply values authenticity. He creates an environment where she feels safe to drop the mask, exhale, and be herself. Psychologists have noted that emotional safety is one of the strongest foundations for genuine attraction. When a woman feels seen and accepted without judgment, it triggers deep emotional bonding. It's not about manipulation, it's about presence. And while she may never say it aloud, those few words, spoken with calm certainty, break down her defenses in the best way. For the first time in a long time, she's not performing. She's just existing. And that, to her, feels like peace. Number 3, I'm not like most men. And you don't need to explain why. It's not bragging when it's true. And when it comes from you, it carries a different weight. You're not speaking from ego, you're speaking from experience, from consistency, from truth. You don't say it to impress, you say it because it. Your lifestyle is built on intention. Your discipline is visible in your routine. You're not out here chasing attention, you're too busy building. You don't speak just to be heard. When you do speak, people listen. That's power, real power. The kind that doesn't need validation. And yes, younger women notice this. In a world full of noise and oversharing, your silence is mysterious. It sparks curiosity. You become a puzzle, one they to solve. They feel the strength in your energy, the clarity in your direction. It's rare, and rare things attract. You're not out here trying to prove anything to anyone. That's what makes it even more attractive. You've become the exception to the rule, grounded, self-contained, and unapologetically focused. Number 4, take your time. The Sigma's patience is seductive. Most guys rush, they push, they pressure, but not you. When you say, take your time, it's like handing her a key to her own peace. Sigma males know something that many overlook. Patience isn't weakness, it's power. Psychologists have found that emotional safety is one of the top factors in long-term relationship satisfaction. And guess what? Patience creates that safety. When a man doesn't rush or push, it signals emotional maturity and self-control, traits deeply attractive to women on a subconscious level. Sigma men aren't in a hurry because they're not chasing validation. They value time, space, and emotional authenticity. By saying, take your time, you're not just being polite, you're communicating that her comfort matters. You're not desperate for attention or trying to manipulate the moment. You're grounded, present, and intentional. For younger women especially, who are often used to being rushed or objectified, this calm energy is disarming. They may not admit it, but it makes them feel respected, seen, and safe. You're giving her permission to move at her own pace, something most never experience. In a world full of noise and pressure, your patience becomes your silent power. And that, my friend, is unforgettable. Number 5. I respect your boundaries. The ultimate turn-on. When you say, I respect your boundaries, you're not just being polite, you're showing emotional intelligence and inner strength. Most women are used to men who get defensive, manipulative, or try to negotiate their way around a no. So when you respond with calm acceptance, cool, I respect that, you instantly stand out. This kind of response short-circuits the usual cycle. It tells her you're confident in yourself and don't need to control or convince her. That's rare. According to psychological studies, women are more attracted to men who make them feel emotionally safe. Why? Because safety creates space for vulnerability, openness, and genuine connection. It's not about playing games or trying to win her over. It's about being a solid, self-assured man who understands that respect is more attractive than pressure. Women notice this, even if they don't say it out loud. So the next time a woman sets a boundary, lean into it with confidence. Smile. Say, I respect that. It's not weakness, it's mastery. You're showing her you have nothing to prove and nothing to lose. That's powerful. And ironically, that power is exactly what makes you more attractive. Number 6. Let's keep this low-key. The allure of discretion. There's something undeniably magnetic about a man who values mystery over noise. When you say, let's keep this low-key, you're not just making a casual request. You're setting a tone that's both intriguing and powerful. In a world obsessed with likes, followers, and oversharing, choosing discretion sends a message. You don't need validation from the crowd. Psychologists say that mystery activates the brain's reward system. When someone reveals less, others tend to think more about them, creating an allure that's hard to resist. By keeping things private, you create a sense of exclusivity, as if she's been invited into a VIP space that only the worthy can access. It's not about being secretive in a shady way. It's about preserving the magic, protecting the intimacy, and avoiding unnecessary opinions. This kind of subtle confidence sets you apart from the average attention seeker. That secrecy, it adds heat. That discretion, it adds trust. And that quiet power, it's seductive. When you don't need to broadcast every detail, you come across as someone who moves with intention, and in a world full of noise, your calm silence speaks volumes. Number 7, you're free to walk away. Anytime. Reverse psychology? Maybe. Effective? Always. You're free to walk away anytime, and suddenly, you're the one she doesn't want to lose. Why? Because true confidence isn't about controlling someone, it's about knowing your worth. When a man isn't needy, when he's emotionally whole and grounded, it sends a powerful signal. Psychologically, this taps into something called the scarcity principle. People tend to value what isn't easily available. When you don't chase, when you're okay being alone, you become a rare breed, and rarity is attractive. You're not there to trap anyone. You're not begging for attention. You're offering value, but only if it's mutual. That's high-status behavior. Ironically, the more freedom you give someone, the more they want to stay. Why? Because freedom feels like trust, and trust builds deep connection. Women don't want to feel caged, they want to feel chosen. So when you confidently say, "You're free to go," you're not pushing her away. You're pulling her closer without even trying. So Sigmas, let's wrap this up. These phrases aren't pickup lines. They're principles. They're the reflection of a lifestyle that prioritizes purpose over popularity, freedom over validation, and presence over pressure. Younger women are drawn to Sigma men because we offer what the world no longer teaches: depth, direction, and discipline. They love hearing these things, not because we're trying to impress, but because we love them. So stay grounded, stay purposeful, keep walking your quiet path. And remember, being a Sigma isn't about being alone, it's about being enough. Having said this, Sigmas, if this resonated with you, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and join this ever-growing community of self-aware, purpose-driven men. Let's keep building a tribe that inspires strength, wisdom, and impact. I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome, Sigmas. The act of a Sigma guy walking away is a deliberate last action, rather than an emotional breakdown or rash choice. Wasted energy has no place in the world of these men who function on a different frequency, and they're precise, tidy, and unapologetic when they cut ties. It could appear icy, even vicious to the outside world. You may find yourself wondering what went wrong or looking for a clue that is concealed from you. The fact is, however, that Sigma guys defy social norms. They owe no one answers, no second chances, and most definitely no lengthy explanations. They break the cord fully and without hesitation when someone no longer shares their values or disturbs their tranquility. This is a harsh reality. A Sigma male will deliberately, directly, and absolutely cut you out of his life. And today, we're exposing 6 brutal facts about the reasons behind it. Facts that most people never anticipate. This is the raw reality of Sigma separation. So get ready. Make sure to watch until the end for a deeper understanding. And if you resonate with this mindset, don't forget to like and join the community of independent thinkers. Now let's dive in. Reason 1. You crossed a line, even if you didn't know it. Sigmas operate on a different wavelength from most men. They don't beg for respect, and they certainly don't tolerate nonsense. Unlike others who vocalize their boundaries or constantly remind people of their standards, a Sigma's limits are invisible but ironclad. There's no need for warnings, no second chances. If you cross the line, you're simply removed from their life. This is rooted in psychological self-respect, the idea that high-value individuals don't waste energy on those who disregard their principles. Many people, especially those who seek external validation, feel the need to justify their boundaries. They explain, they argue, they give multiple warnings. A Sigma does none of this. His actions speak for themselves. This quiet decisiveness is what sets Sigmas apart. Women and people in general often test boundaries, whether consciously or unconsciously. They push to see how much they can get away with. Most men either cave or engage in unnecessary conflict. A Sigma, he simply disengages. There's no need for loud confrontations or emotional outbursts. He doesn't seek revenge, doesn't try to prove a point. He just vanishes. This behavior is deeply tied to the law of least interest, a concept in psychology stating that the person who is less emotionally invested in an interaction holds the most power. A Sigma's ability to walk away at any moment makes him unpredictable, which in turn makes him more intriguing. People crave certainty, and when they sense that a Sigma is entirely self-sufficient and unafraid to cut ties, they respect him even more. Women in particular find this dynamic both frustrating and alluring. They're used to men who will endure disrespect, beg for attention, or try to fix things when boundaries are crossed. A Sigma doesn't engage in that cycle. If you show a lack of respect, he assumes you're not worth his time. This isn't coldness, it's efficiency. A Sigma values his energy and emotional space too much to waste it on people who don't align with his standards. The beauty of this approach is that it naturally filters out those who don't respect him, leaving only those who genuinely appreciate his presence. There are no dramatic exits, no heated arguments, just a quiet, resolute departure. And that silence, it speaks louder than any words ever could. Reason 2. You show disloyalty. Loyalty isn't just a preference for a Sigma male, it's a requirement. In a world filled with deception, half-truths, and hidden agendas, a Sigma values authenticity above all else. He doesn't waste time deciphering mixed signals or tolerating disloyalty. The moment he senses betrayal, whether through gossip, dishonesty, or fake energy, he's gone. No warnings, no debates, no drawn-out explanations. He simply exits. This isn't about being harsh or unforgiving. It's about self-respect. Studies in behavioral psychology reveal that emotionally intelligent individuals recognize toxic patterns early and remove themselves before further damage occurs. Sigmas operate on this principle instinctively, while others may overlook red flags, make excuses, or cling to unhealthy connections. A Sigma understands that loyalty is non-negotiable. The second someone proves they can't be trusted, they're removed from his inner circle permanently. Why? Because Sigmas don't believe in emotional gambling. They don't entertain people who play both sides or betray trust for personal gain. This level of decisiveness can be intimidating, even ruthless to those who expect endless chances. But to a Sigma, it's simple: trust, once broken, is never the same. His mindset aligns with the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. He invests in the 20% of people who bring genuine value and eliminates the 80% who drain his energy or compromise his principles. Hence, this selective approach ensures that his circle remains strong, reliable, and built on mutual respect. Many mistake his cold detachment for a lack of emotion, but in reality, it's the opposite. Sigmas value relationships deeply, but only when they are built on truth and loyalty. He doesn't do drama, manipulation, or second chances. If you betray a Sigma, you won't get a heated argument or a dramatic confrontation. You'll get silence. And silence, as psychology confirms, is the ultimate form of pain. In the end, a Sigma's loyalty is rare, but once earned, it's unwavering. He will stand by those who prove themselves, defend those he trusts, and remain loyal to those who show the same in return. But the moment deception enters he disappears without hesitation and without looking back. Reason 3. You became an energy vampire. Sigmas guard their energy the way a dragon guards its treasure, with unwavering vigilance. They understand that time, mental clarity, and emotional peace are their most valuable resources. Unlike most people who scatter their energy freely, Sigmas are highly selective about where and with whom they invest it. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. Studies in psychology suggest that constant exposure to negativity, emotional drama, and toxic relationships can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and even physical exhaustion. Sigmas instinctively know this, which is why they keep their inner circle tight and their boundaries firm. If someone constantly drains their time, emotions, or mental space with neediness and chaos, a Sigma will cut the cord without hesitation. It's not about being cold or heartless. It's about maintaining balance. Unlike social butterflies who thrive on external validation, Sigmas derive their strength from solitude and introspection. Their alone time is where they recharge, strategize, and refine their vision. They cannot afford to let energy vampires deplete them. This ties into the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. It suggests that 80% of outcomes often come from 20% of efforts. Sigmas apply this principle to their relationships. If someone consistently drains more energy than they contribute, they are removed from the equation. No confrontation, no second chances, just a quiet disappearance. And this is what confuses most people. Society teaches us to tolerate, to compromise, to endure toxic relationships for the sake of appearances or obligation. But Sigmas play by different rules. They understand a simple but powerful truth. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Some may see this as ruthless, but in reality, it's an act of wisdom. The ability to walk away from draining relationships isn't a sign of arrogance, it's a sign of emotional intelligence. Studies show that people with high emotional intelligence can recognize negative patterns and remove themselves before damage is done. Sigmas don't wait until they're burned out or emotionally depleted. They cut ties early, preserving their inner world like a fortress. If you bring drama, insecurity, or manipulation into a Sigma's life. They won't argue. They won't try to change you. They won't engage in endless discussions about feel. They will simply disappear. It's not an act of malice. It's a survival mechanism. A Sigma knows that every wasted minute spent on the wrong people is a minute taken away from their goals, growth, and inner peace. And that's what makes them so different. While others drown in toxic cycles, Sigmas move forward, unburdened, focused, and in complete control of their own destiny. Reason 4. You tried to control them. Telling a Sigma male how to live. What to do or how to think is like trying to put a wild wolf on a leash. It's simply not going to happen. Unlike most men who seek external validation and follow societal expectations, a Sigma moves on his own terms. His independence isn't just a preference. It's a core part of his identity. This is rooted in psychological reactance, a concept in behavioral science that explains why people resist when they feel their freedom is being threatened. Sigma males, by nature, are highly self-sufficient. The moment they sense control, manipulation, or suffocation, their instincts kick in not out of defiance, but because autonomy is non-negotiable. While some men tolerate being micromanaged in relationships or social settings, a Sigma finds it unbearable. He thrives in environments where he has full control over his choices, time, and direction in life. This is why Sigmas often avoid traditional social hierarchies, corporate structures, and relationships that demand constant compromise of their core values. They're not rebels for the sake of rebellion. They simply refuse to live a life dictated by others. This independence is both frustrating and fascinating to those around them. Women in particular are drawn to this untamed energy. It's rare to meet a man who doesn't seek approval or bend to expectations. The challenge of trying to figure him out becomes irresistible. However, the moment a woman tries to control or mold a Sigma, she quickly learns the hard way he won't stay. Not because he doesn't care, but because his nature demands freedom. This is why Sigmas vanish at the first sign of manipulation. They don't engage in power struggles or prolonged debates over control. They simply disappear, leaving others wondering what happened. It's not about being dramatic. It's about survival. Just as a wolf refuses captivity, a Sigma refuses a life that feels restrictive. In a world where so many people seek to control others through social norms, relationships, or workplace politics, a Sigma remains an anomaly. He doesn't ask for permission to be himself. He doesn't explain his choices. And most importantly, he never sacrifices his freedom for comfort. Because to a Sigma, freedom isn't just a luxury, it's everything. Reason 5. You weren't growing. Sigmas are highly selective when it comes to the people they surround themselves with. While some individuals are content with simply having bodies around, Sigmas recognize that the quality of their social circle directly impacts their own growth. They don't just want people who fill the space, they want people who will push them to evolve, inspire them to improve, and challenge them to reach new heights. Psychologically, this is rooted in the law of attraction. We are influenced by the people we spend the most time with. Sigmas understand this on a deep level. They know that growth and success are often shaped by the energy and mindset of those around them. As a result, they are intentional about who they allow into their lives. They seek out individuals who have a growth mindset, who strive for excellence, and who are constantly working on their personal and professional development. If you stay stagnant, complain about your circumstances, or show no desire to better yourself, Sigmas will notice. And it's not that they are judgmental or callous. It's just that they refuse to waste time where there is no potential for growth. Time is one of the most valuable commodities, and Sigmas recognize that associating with individuals who aren't interested in leveling up is counterproductive to their own journey. Studies in social psychology suggest that our social circles significantly influence our behaviors, values, and even our success. People who surround themselves with growth-oriented individuals are more likely to embrace change and self-improvement. Sigmas understand this intuitively. They know that to keep climbing, they need to be around people who challenge them and bring something to the table. This doesn't mean Sigmas only seek out perfection or look down on others. Instead, it's about mutual respect for personal development. A Sigma will support someone who is striving for improvement, even if they're at the beginning stages of their journey. However, if someone continually refuses to evolve, is trapped in negative patterns, or simply lacks the desire to grow, Sigmas will naturally distance themselves. They know that surrounding themselves with stagnation won't lead to their own progress. Ultimately, a Sigma values time and energy spent on relationships that encourage personal growth. For them, growth isn't just an option, it's a lifestyle. And if you can't match that energy, they'll move, knowing that their journey doesn't stop for anyone who isn't evolving with them. Reason 6. They're on a solo mission. Sigmas are not your average men. They don't just float through life, reacting to every whim or seeking external validation. Instead, they go through periods of intense self-reflection and transformation. These phases are not about seeking attention or external approval. They are about internal growth. During these times, a Sigma retreats. It's not because he's angry or upset, far from it. He's simply building, plotting, and upgrading himself. Think of it as a personal metamorphosis, much like a caterpillar retreating into its cocoon. A Sigma enters a phase of deep introspection, cutting off distractions to focus on what truly matters. This is when he hones his skills, refines his values, and aligns his life with his higher purpose. Psychologically speaking, this is a crucial part of self-actualization. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization represents the highest level of personal development. It's the process of becoming the best version of oneself, and it often requires periods of solitude and focus. During this time, Sigmas prioritize their goals and their well-being above all else. Distractions, whether from people or external expectations, are simply unwelcome. Women who are familiar with Sigmas understand that this retreat is not personal. It's part of the Sigma's growth process. They may not always explain their need for space, but it's understood that they must retreat in order to come back stronger, more focused, and more self-assured. The key takeaway? A Sigma's silence during these phases doesn't reflect dissatisfaction with others. It's a reflection of his commitment to continuous self-improvement, and when he re-emerges, he's an even more powerful, intriguing presence than before. What you can learn from this: if a Sigma male cuts you off, don't chase, don't beg for explanations. Instead, ask yourself, did I respect their space? Was I bringing value or draining energy? Was I trying to control them? Did I remain loyal? Self-reflection is the key. A Sigma male doesn't owe anyone an explanation. They don't burn bridges with fire, they burn them with silence. And once they've left, there's rarely a way back. But here's the thing. If you do get cut off, use it as an opportunity to grow, level up, become the kind of person Sigmas respect: strong, independent, and self-sufficient. Sigmas, if you resonate with this, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join this community of high-value individuals dedicated to self-mastery and impactful living. Having said this,
Sigma doesn't ask for respect, he commands it silently. Why do Sigma males walk into a room, say nothing, and still make every head turn? Picture this: a crowded networking event. Everyone's talking, pitching, and selling. Then walks in a man. No loud suit, no booming voice, no entourage, just calm energy. He nods, that's it. Yet suddenly the air shifts. People start whispering, glancing his way. Who is he? What does he do? Nobody knows, but everyone wants to find out. This is the power of quiet dominance. Psychologically, humans are wired to notice confidence, not arrogance, genuine self-assurance. Research shows that people who maintain eye contact, use minimal yet intentional movements, and exhibit calmness are often perceived as more powerful and trustworthy. Sigma males embody this. They don't compete for the spotlight. They, the room's center of gravity. Their energy says, I don't need validation, I know who I am. They've mastered presence, a state of complete self-awareness and self-control. While others chase attention, the Sigma draws it in naturally, like gravity. In a world screaming for notice, the Sigma whispers, and somehow everyone hears him. Number 1, silence is their superpower. You know what really unsettles people during a conversation? Silence. But here's the twist. Sigma males don't just tolerate silence, they it. While most people rush to fill quiet moments with chatter, the Sigma male does the opposite. He remains calm, composed, and completely comfortable in the pause. This isn't awkwardness, it's strategy. Research in communication psychology shows that strategic silence can increase perceived intelligence and leadership presence. Sigmas use these moments to observe, absorb, and analyze, often gaining more insight than those who never stop talking. And it works. People start leaning in, wondering what he'll say next. That pause? It creates anticipation and tension like a drawn bow waiting to release. That's how influence is built, not by overpowering a conversation, but by mastering the rhythm of it. So, the next time you're tempted to fill the silence, remember, sometimes the most powerful statement is no statement at all. Number 2, they own their body language. Sigmas speak volumes without opening their mouths. It's all in the body language. Posture, eye contact, and micro-expressions do the talking. Their presence is intentional. Studies in nonverbal communication show that over 90% of human interaction relies on body cues, not words. That's where Sigmas thrive. They walk with purpose, even if they don't have a destination. Shoulders are rolled back, chin is neutral, gaze is steady, no unnecessary movements, nothing rushed. It's like the body's in sync with a silent mission. When they enter a room, they don't look for validation. They radiate a quiet message: I'm already in control. Their authority isn't boisterous, it's composed. It doesn't need to prove itself. Micro-expressions like a slight lift of the brow or a faint smirk hint at a sharp mind behind the calm exterior. Sigma energy is subtle but unmistakable, confident without a word, commanding without effort. Number 3. Mastery of self equals command of others. Let's get real. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. That's the Sigma male code, and it's not just a catchy phrase. It's a lifestyle rooted in self-discipline, emotional intelligence, and a relentless drive for self-mastery. While most people chase validation and attention, Sigma males invest in personal growth. They're not trying to impress the crowd. They're trying to impress the person in the mirror. Leadership starts with self-control. Research shows that people with high emotional intelligence are more effective leaders because they can manage their reactions, stay calm under pressure, and make decisions with clarity. Sigma males spend their energy mastering their habits, mindset, and emotions, and that's what builds trust. Ever meet someone who just feels solid, like nothing rattles them? That's not a coincidence. It's the result of daily discipline and radical self-accountability. If you want others to follow your lead, become someone you'd follow. Period. Number 4. Non-reactivity is their power move. In a world addicted to drama, the Sigma male is like a still lake, quiet, deep, and unshaken. When others lash out with insults, he doesn't flinch. When the room erupts into chaos, he doesn't panic. When life turns up the pressure, he doesn't fold. He adapts. Why? Because Sigma males have mastered emotional regulation. Studies in neuroscience show that emotional intelligence, particularly self-regulation, is key to mental resilience and leadership. Sigmas know that reacting emotionally often gives away power. Most people expect a reaction. They thrive on the emotional back and forth. But when you stay calm, they lose control. They're forced to face their own instability. The Sigma's silence isn't weakness, it's a strategic advantage. In conflict, calmness disarms the aggressor. In crisis, stillness reveals clarity. True strength isn't about being the loudest voice, it's about being the quiet force that never wavers. That's the Sigma edge. Number 5. Purpose drives their presence. Sigma males don't walk through life aimlessly. They stride with a sense of purpose that you can practically feel in the air around them. Their every move is intentional, shaped by a mission, a dream, or unshakable personal values. This isn't just confidence, it's clarity. Studies in psychology show that people are naturally drawn to those who exhibit goal-directed behavior. Why? Because purpose signals strength, focus, and leadership. When a Sigma male walks into a room, he doesn't need to speak loudly or demand attention. His energy speaks for him. He moves like someone who knows exactly where he's going. And that magnetic direction makes people want to follow. In a world where many drift with trends and seek validation, the Sigma male's grounded presence stands out. So if you want to command attention, start walking like your steps matter. Because when you walk with purpose, they absolutely do. Number 6. Detachment makes them dangerous. Here's the twist. Sigma males don't to be liked, and that's exactly why people end up respecting them more. In a world where most chase likes, applause, and social validation, Sigma males walk a different path. They're detached from the social games everyone else is playing. No people-pleasing, no forced charm, no pretending. Psychologically, this behavior aligns with high self-differentiation, a trait where individuals maintain their values and independence regardless of social pressure. That's rare, and rarity always carries power. When you're free from the need for approval, you become unpredictable, unshakable. People realize they can't manipulate or guilt-trip you. That's when respect grows. Sigma males don't dominate with noise, they lead with presence. And in a noisy world, silence backed by confidence is magnetic. They're not rebels for attention, they're rebels for authenticity. And that, ironically, is what makes them unforgettable. Number 7. They master the art of mystery. Let's face it, people are obsessed with what they can't figure out. It's human nature. The less you reveal, the more others want to know. That's where Sigma males thrive. They don't overshare, don't explain themselves, and definitely don't flood social media with personal updates. This silence isn't random, it's strategic. Psychologists call it the information gap theory. When people sense they're missing a piece of the puzzle, their curiosity skyrockets. That's the attention Sigma males attract, not by shouting but by staying silent. Their mystery becomes magnetic. This calculated absence builds authority. In a world addicted to oversharing, restraint becomes power. While others scream for validation, the Sigma calmly moves with purpose. Say less, do more. Let them wonder. Because mystery isn't weakness, it's influence. And when you don't explain yourself, people fill in the blanks with fascination. Number 8. They choose respect over popularity. The Sigma male isn't focused on being liked. His priority is earning respect. This means establishing strong boundaries, confidently saying no when needed, and distancing himself from energy-draining individuals. By choosing self-respect over seeking temporary approval, he stands firm in his values. In a society that often pressures people to conform, the Sigma male embraces individuality and refuses to shrink. He understands that true power lies in self-worth, not in popularity. Ultimately, the Sigma shows us that it's not about being liked by everyone, but respecting oneself enough to walk alone and stay true to one's principles. Number 9. Deep knowledge, low ego. Sigma males possess a unique trait. They often know more than others, yet speak less. Why? Because they don't feel the need to prove themselves. They understand their value and approach conversations with intentionality. When they do speak, their words are precise, insightful, and impactful, which naturally draws others in. This quiet influence isn't about shouting the loudest opinion, but offering the wisest one. True power lies not in knowing, but in applying that knowledge effectively. However, the ego can hinder this application as it distorts judgment and often leads to actions driven by self-interest rather than wisdom. Number 10. They lead themselves first. The ultimate Sigma male trait is their ability to lead without waiting for direction. They take charge of their own growth by reading, reflecting, setting clear goals, and building personal discipline. They treat their development as a priority, constantly improving themselves. This self-driven approach creates a magnetic energy, drawing others to follow, not because of their words, but because of the example they set. Authority, for a Sigma male, isn't about commanding others. It starts with commanding respect for oneself. By focusing on self-mastery, the Sigma male naturally attracts attention and admiration. Their leadership is the product of consistent self-development. Sigma's authority isn't something you take. It's something you become. You don't need to shout, chase, or impress. You just need to embody the values, the presence, and the purpose that naturally command respect. So if you're ready to walk with quiet power, if you're done shrinking to fit the noise, if you're ready to build a life of depth, mastery, and influence, then hit that like button, Subscribe to the channel and join this growing tribe of Sigma men. Let's lead, let's evolve, let's rise without needing to announce it.
Welcome, Sigmas. You've heard the saying, watch out for the quiet ones. Well, in our case, it's not just a warning. It's a truth. The ones who remain calm and collected often see right through the loudest lies, and that's exactly why they make some people uneasy in a world that glorifies the bold and the brash. Sigma males stand apart as the silent powerhouses walking their own path. Detached from the crowd, they aren't after titles. They don't seek followers, and they definitely don't crave validation. Sigmas exist in a space so magnetic and self-assured that it tends to unsettle those with darker intentions. But why? Studies show that people who think independently and reject conformity are more likely to become targets of manipulators. Why? Because nothing shakes evil more than someone who can't be controlled. Now, imagine this. You're just doing your thing, thriving in your bubble of self-sufficiency. When you notice something odd, the manipulators, the deceivers, the ones who thrive on chaos, they've suddenly taken an interest in you. Why? Because your Sigma energy is like kryptonite to their games, and trust me, they don't play by the rules. Get ready, because this isn't your typical story of jealousy and petty jabs. We're diving into the twisted playbook of manipulation where the moves are calculated. The pettiness is often laughable, and the battle of being a Sigma male is as much about staying true to yourself as it is about navigating a world of hidden agendas. This is where the blessing of being a Sigma meets the battlefield of real. Let's jump in. Number 1, they try to control you. Evil people thrive on control. They manipulate, deceive, and pressure others into submission. But a Sigma male, you are immune to their tactics because you operate independent, free from external influence. This makes you a threat to their agenda. Psychologically, manipulators rely on covert control strategies, like guilt-tripping, gaslighting, and emotional blackmail. Guilt-tripping plays on a person, making them feel selfish for asserting boundaries. Gaslighting distorts reality, making the victim question their own judgment. These tactics work on those who seek approval, but not on a Sigma. Because you refuse to conform, manipulators grow frustrated. They escalate their games, trying harder to provoke a reaction, but your unshakable nature denies them the emotional fuel they crave. This is known as gray rocking, a technique where maintaining emotional neutrality causes manipulators to lose interest. The more you resist, the more desperate they become, but ultimately they fail, because control only works on those who allow it. And a Sigma male, you bow to no one. Number 2, they spread lies about you. Sigmas, your quiet nature isn't just a trait, it's a mystery. And mystery unsettles people. Most individuals rely on social validation, oversharing to fit in, or constantly seeking reassurance. But you move in silence, revealing only what you choose. This lack of information creates a vacuum, and human psychology tells us that when people don't have answers, they invent them. This is known as the ambiguity effect when faced with the unknown. People default to assumptions rather than admitting they don't understand. Your silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes people uncomfortable. They can't read you. So instead, they project their own fears, biases, and insecurities onto you. You may be labeled as arrogant, cold, or even untrustworthy, not because of your actions, but because your existence challenges their need for clarity. They'd rather create a false narrative than accept that you operate on a different frequency. But here's the paradox. The more they talk, the more powerful your presence becomes. Their curiosity keeps you in their minds, and their rumors only add to your mystique. A Sigma doesn't waste time explaining himself. He lets results speak louder than speculation. Number 3, they play the victim. When people realize they can't control or outmaneuver you, their last resort is often manipulation. They twist the narrative, making themselves the victim and you the villain. This tactic, called projection, lets them avoid accountability by blaming you instead of admitting their flaws. This is common in workplaces, social circles, and relationships. When someone feels threatened by a Sigma's independence and they may try to turn others against them. This is social gaslighting, where reality is distorted to make the Sigma appear as the aggressor, aiming to isolate and weaken them. What sets Sigmas apart is their emotional control. Instead of reacting, they stay calm, knowing the truth will eventually come to light. Behavioral psychology shows that false narratives crumble under scrutiny. Lies need constant maintenance, but the truth stands strong. So when they try to paint you as the villain, don't get caught up in their drama. Stay composed. Let their contradictions expose them and keep moving forward. The best response to manipulation isn't anger, it's unwavering self-assurance. Number 4. They compete with you even when you're not competing. A Sigma doesn't seek competition because his confidence comes from within. He's indifferent to external validation and social games. However, insecure people often try to one-up him, whether at work, in social settings, or even in minor interactions. These individuals, driven by social comparison theory, measure their worth by comparing themselves to others. Insecure people feel threatened by the Sigma's calm confidence because he doesn't seek attention or engage in rivalries. This non-reaction frustrates them. They expect a battle of egos. But the Sigma doesn't play. As a result, they boast, exaggerate, and try to overshadow him. Ironically, the more they try, the more they reveal their insecurity. A Sigma's quiet dominance isn't about proving superiority. It's rooted in self-assurance. While others waste energy competing, he remains focused on his own path. This is why he always wins without even trying. Number 5. They undermine your success. Jealousy is one of the strongest and most revealing human emotions. It arises when people feel threatened by someone else's success, especially when that success highlights their own shortcoming. Instead of offering support or admiration, they attempt to downplay your achievements with dismissive comments like, "He just got lucky," or "It's not that impressive." Psychologically, this is known as cognitive dissonance, when people experience discomfort because reality contradicts their beliefs. Seeing you excel forces them to confront their own lack of progress, and instead of improving themselves, they choose the easier path, discrediting you. This is why highly successful individuals often face the most resistance, not because they've done something wrong, but because their presence exposes others' insecurities. But here's the truth. Their jealousy has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. The moment you stop seeking external validation, their words lose power. Stay focused. Stay consistent and let your results speak for themselves. In the end, success is the best response because while they're busy talking, you're busy winning. Number 6, they provoke you. Some people thrive on conflict, seeking it out as a way to feel validated or exert control. But a Sigma male is different. He doesn't engage in pointless drama or get caught up in petty arguments. He understands that conflict often arises from a place of insecurity or manipulation, and he knows that reacting is exactly what the other person wants. This is where emotional intelligence comes into play. A Sigma understands that emotional reactions often serve as distractions from more important matters. Instead of getting swept up in the chaos, he remains calm, composed, and unresponsive to the provocation. Studies in self-regulation suggest that those who don't react impulsively to external pressures are seen as more emotionally mature and in control. When someone tries to push a Sigma's buttons, he simply refuses to play their game. Rather than getting defensive or retaliating, he might remain silent, redirect the conversation, or disengage entirely. This creates an air of mystery and dominance. The other person, frustrated by their inability to get a reaction, is left in a state of confusion, and in that silence, the Sigma has already won. It's a subtle but powerful way of taking control without ever raising a finger. Number 7, they imitate you. There's a fascinating psychological phenomenon at play when it comes to the Sigma male. Many of the people who outwardly criticize you, who despise your independence, your nonconformity, and your self-sufficiency, are actually drawn to it. Deep down, they admire what they pretend to hate. This is rooted in cognitive dissonance, a psychological theory that explains how people experience discomfort when their actions contradict their beliefs. They may despise your ability to live on your own terms, but they envy the freedom it represents. They wish they could be as confident, as self-reliant, and as indifferent to societal approval as you are. In fact, studies in social psychology show that people often mimic the behaviors and traits of those they secretly admire but feel insecure about. This explains why, despite their outward hostility, these same people may start to adopt aspects of your style, your mindset, or even your approach to life. They want the confidence you exude, but are too afraid to embrace it themselves. So while they criticize from a distance, they're subconsciously trying to embody what you represent. It's the ultimate form of flattery, hidden behind a veil of resentment. And you continue to walk your own path, unaffected by the noise. Number 8, they try to isolate you. A Sigma doesn't need a crowd to feel validated. Unlike others who thrive on social approval or the attention of a group, you draw your strength from within. Sigmas operate on their own terms, valuing independence and self-sufficiency over popularity. This isn't arrogance. It's a deep understanding of your own worth, unshaken by external opinions. However, not everyone appreciates this. Evil people, those driven by insecurity or envy, will often try to turn others against you. They may label you an outsider, hoping to isolate you or undermine your influence. This tactic is rooted in a psychological concept known as social exclusion, where individuals attempt to diminish the impact of someone they perceive as a threat. They believe that if they can alienate you from the group, your power will diminish. But for a Sigma, this attempt at manipulation is futile. You don't need validation from the masses. Your worth doesn't depend on their approval. The more they try to isolate you, the more you remain unaffected, solid in your sense of self. In the end, it's your inner strength and authenticity that makes you untouchable. Whether in a crowd or alone, a Sigma's influence cannot be diminished by the opinions of others. Number 9, they test your boundaries. A Sigma male is unwavering when it comes to his boundaries. While many men are swayed by external pressures, the Sigma knows exactly where he stands and refuses to compromise on his values or personal space. This makes him a challenge for manipulative individuals who often attempt to push, prod, and test his limits, trying to find a way to break him down. Psychologically, this aligns with assertiveness training, which shows that individuals who are firm with their boundaries are less likely to be taken advantage of or manipulated. It signals to others that you value yourself and your time, demanding respect. When you stay grounded in your boundaries, you project confidence and self-respect. This frustrates those who are used to bending others to their will, but it also earns the respect of those who understand the importance of integrity. Your boundaries aren't up for negotiation, and that's what makes you powerful. Number 10, they try to ruin your reputation. Character assassination is a tactic used by people who seek to undermine you by exaggerating flaws, spreading rumors, and fabricating stories. This form of manipulation is rooted in social influence, specifically trying to sway public opinion by distorting facts. People who resort to this tactic aim to tarnish your reputation, often because they feel threatened by your strength, success, or independence. However, research in reputation management shows that lies and false narratives rarely stand the test of time. The truth, however, has a way of emerging. Over time, people begin to see through the distortion and recognize the integrity of those being attacked. While character assassination can be damaging in the short term, the impact of truth is far more enduring. People who focus on authenticity and integrity often find that, despite the attempts to bring them down, their reputation not only survives but grows stronger. Number 11, they gossip about you. Small minds tend to focus on others, often discussing them to fill the void of their own lives. When you're on the receiving end of this, it's important to recognize it as a compliment. It means you're occupying a space in their minds that they can't get rid of. Psychological research supports the idea that people who are constantly discussed or thought about are often seen as high status, influential, or intriguing. So while they're busy thinking about you, you're actually living rent-free in their heads, showing just how much your presence matters. Let them talk. It only proves your impact. Number 12, they exaggerate your flaws. Nobody is perfect, but some people particularly those with negative intentions, will try to make you believe your imperfections define who they magnify your mistakes while conveniently ignoring their own flaws. This is a classic tactic of projection, where an individual attributes their shortcomings onto others to deflect attention from their own issues psychologically. This can be an attempt to gain power or control by making you feel inferior. The goal is to shift focus away from their own flaws and onto yours, ultimately minimizing your strength. Recognizing this behavior helps you maintain your confidence and focus on your growth. Number 13. They sabotage your efforts. Whether in work, relationships, or personal growth, obstacles will always arise, often from those who feel threatened by your potential. But for Sigmas, resilience is your greatest weapon. Unlike others who become discouraged or falter under pressure, you view setbacks as opportunities for growth. This mindset is grounded in grit, a psychological concept that refers to perseverance and passion for long-term goals. Studies show that individuals with high levels of grit are more likely to succeed because they don't give up easily. Sigmas thrive through challenges, using adversity as fuel to push themselves further, stronger, and wiser. Number 14. They try to make you doubt yourself. A Sigma is inherently self-assured, but they understand the power of planting seeds of doubt, not to manipulate, but to challenge and provoke growth. When they say, "Are you sure about that?" or "I don't think you can pull that off," it's not about tearing you down. It's about testing your confidence and resilience. This can be uncomfortable, but it's a valuable lesson in self-trust. Psychological studies show that doubt can trigger motivation and self-reflection, leading to stronger outcomes. A Sigma knows that true growth comes from pushing boundaries. So, when faced with doubt, ignore the noise and trust in your abilities. Number 15. They fear your influence. At the core, what others fear most is the power of your presence, your ability to stand alone, lead without needing validation, and move with quiet confidence challenges everything they know. People are often uncomfortable with those who refuse to conform to societal expectations, especially when that person operates with unwavering self-assurance. Your independence threatens their worldview, making them question their own choices and beliefs. This fear can lead to attempts to bring you down, as their discomfort with your strength pushes them to undermine you. But remember, this reaction is a sign of your influence, not a weakness. Sigmas, now that you know their tactics, you hold the power. The more you rise, the more they will resist, but that's proof you're doing something right. Don't let the insecurities of others shake your foundation. Stay firm, stay focused, and most importantly, stay Sigma. If you found value in this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and join this community of high-value individuals. Together, we embrace the Sigma mindset and live with purpose. Having said this,
Did you ever notice that certain men simply do not fit the typical stereotype? They do not conform, they do not follow trends, and they certainly do not do what society expects them to. Why do Sigma males seem to reject so many things that most people consider normal? Imagine walking into a room full of chatter, people desperately seeking validation, cliques forming, and everyone trying to fit in. Now in the middle of it all stands a man, silent, observing, detached from the noise. That man is a Sigma male, and what he does, or rather what he doesn't do, is what makes him so different. Sigmas don't follow the herd, period. They operate on a different wavelength, one that society doesn't always understand but secretly admires. What are these common things that people do but a Sigma simply cannot? And more importantly, why? Stay tuned, because you might just discover that you have more Sigma traits than you realize. Sigmas, this video is for you. If you've ever felt different or questioned why you can't seem to follow the crowd, you're about to get the answers. Let's break it all down. Unlike the alpha who leads the pack or the beta who follows, the Sigma male prefers to lurk in the shadows, and that's where they shine. Sigma males are a breed apart, a different kind of beast. They dance to the beat of their own drum, and this unique rhythm sets them apart. You see, Sigma males don't just prefer solitude, they thrive in it. While many of us are social creatures, seeking the company of others for comfort and companionship, Sigma males are perfectly content in their own company. Their need for solitude is not born out of shyness or social anxiety. Instead, it's a conscious choice, a reflection of their independent and introspective nature. This independence also translates into an unconventional approach to life. Unlike the majority who walk the well-trodden path, Sigma males forge their own trail. They're not swayed by societal expectations or norms. A 9-to-5 job, a white picket fence? These societal milestones hold little appeal for the Sigma male. Instead, they seek fulfillment and meaning on their own terms. Their disregard for social norms extends beyond their life choices. Sigma males have a unique perspective on life, a lens that allows them to see the world differently. They question everything, refusing to accept things at face value. They're not contrarians for the sake of being contrary. They simply believe in seeking truth and understanding, even if it means challenging conventional wisdom. But their independent mindset is not without its challenges. Sigma males often face misunderstanding and misjudgment. For many, their preference for solitude and their unconventional lifestyle can be perplexing, even off-putting. But the Sigma male is not deterred. They understand that their path is not for everyone, and they're okay with that. So, the Sigma male stands out, not because they want to, but because they simply can't be anything else. They're a different breed, marching to their own beat, living life on their own terms. Now you might be wondering, what are the things that most people do easily, but Sigma males cannot? Let's find out. Imagine being in a room full of people and feeling like an alien. Welcome to the world of a Sigma male at a social gathering. When Sigma males find themselves in social situations, they're often like fish out of water, not because they lack social skills, mind you, but because their natural inclination to solitude and introspection clashes with the bustling energy of a crowd. It's like trying to read a book in the middle of a rock concert. It's possible, but hardly the ideal environment. Now, you might think that Sigma males are just shy or socially awkward, but that's not the case. You see, Sigma males are perfectly capable of socializing. They just have a different approach to it. While others might engage in small talk about the weather or the latest sports scores, Sigma males prefer diving into deeper, more meaningful conversations. They're not interested in idle chatter. They seek connections that stimulate their minds and challenge their perspectives. But here's the thing, deep conversations aren't exactly the norm at your typical social gathering, so Sigma males often find themselves on the sidelines, observing and analyzing the dynamics around them rather than actively participating. Some might see this as aloof or standoffish, but in reality it's just the Sigma male's way of processing the world. They're like quiet observers, taking in the scenery, understanding the people, and dissecting the social norms. And while they might not be the life of the party or the center of attention, their presence is often felt in subtle ways. Their insightful comments, their thoughtful questions, their ability to listen, these are all traits that can make a Sigma male a captivating presence in their own unique way. So the next time you're at a party and see someone quietly observing from the corner, don't be too quick to label them as antisocial or odd. They might just be a Sigma male, navigating the social landscape in their own unique way. So the next time you see someone quietly observing at a party, remember it could be a Sigma male in his natural habitat. In a world that's more connected than ever, how does a Sigma male maintain his cherished solitude? This question poses a significant enigma that we're about to unravel. To understand this, we must first acknowledge that today's world is wired in a way that constantly nudges us towards social interactions, both offline and online. Round-the-clock connectivity, social media platforms, and a culture that promotes networking make it increasingly difficult for anyone to find a quiet corner. For a Sigma male, a lover of solitude, this can be particularly challenging. Yet Sigma males are not hermits. They do not reject society. Instead, they navigate it in their unique ways. They are selective with their social interactions, preferring meaningful connections over shallow acquaintances. Picture a Sigma male at a bustling party. He might not be the life of the party, but he's not a wallflower either. He's the one engaged in a deep conversation in a quiet corner, away from the cacophony. The digital world, with its constant pings and notifications, might seem overpowering. However, Sigma males have a knack for managing it too. They use technology to their advantage, curating their online presence to reflect their independent nature. They might not post daily selfies or share every meal they eat, but when they do share something, it's substantial and thought-provoking. Relationships for Sigma males are not about quantity, but quality. They might have fewer friends, but these relationships are profound and genuine. They value their solitude, but they also appreciate meaningful companionship. Maintaining this delicate balance requires a deep understanding of oneself, which Sigma males have in abundance. In essence, Sigma males move through a world buzzing with connections, carefully choosing when to engage and when to retreat. Their solitude is not a sign of loneliness, but an emblem of their self-reliance and introspection. They are masters of their own time and space, and they wouldn't trade it for all the social popularity in the world. So while most of us thrive on social interactions, Sigma males find their power in solitude. Being misunderstood is a common plight of a Sigma male. Let's delve into why. This solitary wolf, the Sigma male, often faces the challenge of being misinterpreted, primarily because of their quiet demeanor and unconventional ways. In a world where extroversion is celebrated and sociability is equated to one's worth, Sigma males are often misjudged. Their silence is mistaken for arrogance, their solitude for loneliness. Yet this couldn't be further from the truth. Sigma males are self-sufficient, and their solitude is a choice, not a consequence of their inability to socialize. Their quiet demeanor is not a sign of arrogance, but a reflection of their internal world. They are thinkers, observers, and listeners. They choose their words carefully, and when they speak with purpose. They are not interested in small talk or shallow conversations. They crave depth, understanding, and meaningful discussions. The unconventional ways of Sigma males also contribute to them being misunderstood. They don't follow the crowd, they make their own path. They reject societal norms and expectations, preferring to live life on their own terms. This can be difficult for others to understand, especially those who follow the beaten path. The internal conflict of Sigma males is another aspect worth exploring. They yearn to be understood, yet they value their solitude. They want to connect with others on a deeper level, but they also want to maintain their independence and personal space. This can be a tricky balance to maintain and can often lead to misunderstandings. Sigma males often find themselves in a conundrum. On one hand, they wish for others to understand their perspective, their choices, their silence. On the other hand, they strive to protect their solitude, their independence, their unconventional ways. This dichotomy often leads to a feeling of being misunderstood as they navigate the world in their own unique way. So being understood is a luxury that Sigma males often can't afford, but that doesn't mean they are any less valuable or any less capable. They are just different, and in their difference, they find their strength. Their silence is their voice, their solitude their companion, their unconventional ways their path. And in this journey, they are not misunderstood, but simply uniquely understood. Change is a constant in life, but for Sigma males, it's a double-edged sword. They say the only thing that's constant is change, but for Sigma males, change can be a bit of a conundrum. You see, Sigma males are the lone wolves, the introverted mavericks of society, and their relationship with change is, well, complicated. While the rest of us might find excitement in the unpredictability of life, Sigma males are a different breed. They are self-reliant to a fault, finding solace in the predictable, the known, and the comfortable. The Sigma male's penchant for predictability isn't a mere preference, it's a necessity. They cherish their routines, their solitude, and their independence. They are the masters of their own ships, charting their course with precision and predictability. But here's the thing about change. It's unpredictable and it's uncontrollable. And for Sigma males, that can be rather unsettling. They prefer to have control over their environment, their schedules, their lives. And change by its very nature threatens to disrupt that. But it's not all doom and gloom. Despite their resistance, Sigma males aren't immune to the allure of change. They understand that change can bring about growth, evolution, and new opportunities, and so they learn to navigate it, albeit reluctantly. They may not jump at the chance to disrupt their routines, but they won't shy away from change when it's necessary. Sigma males find a way to balance their need for control with the inevitability of change. They may grapple with it, wrestle with it, even resist it, but ultimately they accept it. They recognize that change is a part of life, and while it may not always be comfortable, it's necessary. So while most of us embrace change, Sigma males find stability in their routines. It's not that they're afraid of change, rather they're cautious. They approach change with a measured response, evaluating its impact before deciding whether to accept it or not. And that's the beauty of Sigma males. They're not easily swayed by the winds of change, but they're not entirely immovable either. They're somewhere in between, embracing change in their own unique way. So, while most of us embrace change, Sigma males find stability in their routines. So being a Sigma male is certainly not for everyone. It's a road less traveled, a path shrouded in mystery and often misunderstood. But it's their path, a path they navigate with an uncanny ease and a quiet confidence. Now challenges? Well, they're no strangers to Sigma males. They face them head on, not because they crave conflict, but because they understand that it's through these trials that they grow and evolve. You see, they are the epitome of resilience, the embodiment of the saying, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Take, for instance, the daily grind of societal expectations. We live in a world that thrives on labels and stereotypes. You're either an extrovert, brimming with charisma, or an introvert, the quiet observer. But what about the Sigma male? They don't fit into these neatly defined boxes. They're the wild cards, the enigmas. And while this can be quite a hurdle, they handle it with grace. They shrug off the societal pressure to conform, choosing instead to stay true to their nature. Another challenge they face is the misunderstanding that follows them around like a shadow. People often mistake their need for solitude as arrogance or aloofness. But the truth is, Sigma males simply value their personal space. They thrive in it. It's not a rejection of others, but an acceptance of themselves. And this, my friends, is one of their greatest strengths. Their unconventional path also comes with its fair share of loneliness. They're often lone wolves, navigating the terrain of life solo. But here's the thing, they're not lonely, they're alone. And there's a world of difference between the two. They find solace in their solitude. They revel in it. It gives them the space to think, to explore, to simply be. It's their sanctuary, their fortress of solitude. But it's not all about the challenges, is it? Being a Sigma male also comes with unique strengths. They are fiercely independent, not reliant on the validation of others. They are self-sufficient, resourceful, and incredibly adaptable. They can blend into any situation, any environment. They're the chameleons of the social world, and their introspective nature makes them incredibly self-aware. They know their strengths, their weaknesses, and they're not afraid to confront them. Navigating their unconventional path, Sigma males teach us a valuable lesson. They show us that it's okay not to fit in, that it's okay to be different. They remind us that it's not about the destination, but the journey. And most importantly, they show us that it's not about conforming to the world, but about creating a world that conforms to us. In a world that's constantly trying to define us, Sigma males remind us that it's okay to carve our own path. So here's to the Sigma males, the lone wolves, the enigmas. Here's to the ones who dare to be different. Here's to the unconventional path.